You're listening to the Hult Center Podcast, and I am thrilled to be speaking with Leslie Mendelson today. She'll be at the Hult Center on Sunday, June 2nd for our 10 for 10 series, which every ticket is just $10. So come on down. Leslie, thanks for joining me today.
Hey, Dan.
Your new record comes out shortly after your performance here. Like, it comes out June 21st. You're going to be here June 2nd. So what can you tell me about this record?
Well, let's see. I made it about, over I guess last year, and we did it with Peter Asher, the great Peter Asher, who has recorded. I don't know. He's produced everybody, but some of my favorite records that he's done James Taylor's big breakout record and Linda Ronstadt, and I had this opportunity to work with him, so I took it, and we did it at Jackson Brown's studio in Santa Monica.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny because we were having a conversation about like who we want to use on the record, and I had like just a crazy notion of like, well, let's get like this, what are they called? Like I call them the dream team.
Sure.
But we had Jim Keltner and Wally Wachtel and Lee Sklar and just a bunch of great guys on the record, and I had so much fun making it. And,
I didn't know who produced it, but I was gonna say the production on this is like super nice. Everything is exactly where it needs to be.
I feel like we just kind of went for it,
Yeah.
And there's everything you can want on it.
I was gonna say,
and without it being too much,
Sure.
It's just it filled out the songs. And Peter's a great producer. We also worked with another producer. We started the project earlier, but they wound up working together really well, the songs. Tyler Chester, who is another LA producer,
Mm-hmm.
and he's worked with Madison Cunningham, and I'm a big fan of his work too. So it all just worked together.
Nice. Yeah. Were you able to mess around with new instruments and stuff on this production that like take chances and try new things as far as like the organ or the piano and like lots of stuff going on there?
Yeah, I think, Tyler is a brilliant musician too. And, he played bass and organ, and like some of the songs that he produced are things that I'd never be able to do on my own. And that's the great thing about working with a producer that's musical and special. And Peter just has the ability, he's wonderful producer in the way that like he can make decisions and get the right people. And
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a director casting a movie.
Oh, sure.
And so like getting Wally Wachtel to play guitar, he's playing things that like, he knows how to make hit records.
Yeah.
He just knows the right parts for the right places. That as a songwriter and artist, I can sing and I could play those songs, but like to get somebody who really knows how to make records that to me is where the magic lies. And so getting the right people, that's what creates the magic.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really loving My Own Worst Enemy and Keep a Little Light On. And I think my favorite though is The Good Life. That song is just like, it gets it, like it's been in my head for like the whole weekend now.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah,
and you know what? That was that's one of my favorite songs to play in the set.
Yeah.
There's just something about it that it just feels nice to play.
When the world turns upside down, inside out makes you crazy. But don't worry, baby, everything will be alright.
We're gonna do like a train beat a little bit, because it's got this. I call it a train beat, but it kind of rolls along. But then
Sure.
Jim started playing, and all of a sudden he just like started doing this like old school kind of 70s country beat to it, like Waylon Jennings song or one of those, and then it just brought it to another place. And now it has a groove to it.
It does. When that chorus hits, you're just like, I don't know, it's like instant sing along. It's just, yeah.
It feels like an old what's his name? Glenn Campbell song too. Like I kind of picture myself on the set of like the Glenn Campbell show, the Glenn Campbell Good Time Hours. Like, and it
Oh,
just
sure.
has
Yeah,
that
yeah.
feeling to it. Like one of those old TV shows where he would sit down on like a little stool and play, and like all like the 70s lights and stuff like that. I always
Yeah.
like have that in my mind. That's my set in my mind.
That would be great. You can tour with that little Glenn
With a
Campbell
lot of
set.
yes, a little imagination.
Yeah. Is that your favorite song to play live? The Good Life? Or is there another one in the record that just like you gotta play because you just love doing it?
Rock and roll on the radio.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels really good to play it. I like singing it. Um, that one's good. Have a Little Heart is like a nice ballad. I get to like, if there's a piano, I
Hmm.
could play it on guitar too, but like if there's a piano, it's a nice moment to sit and just change the pace.
What about since there is so many guest musicians performing with you, you're playing stripped down when you perform
Yes.
live?
Yeah, I'm a one woman show
Yeah.
traveling. Like I have my co-writer Steve McEwen will play shows with me as well. But these next few dates coming up, because before I come to Oregon, I'm going to be with the Wallflowers for 3 shows.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, on the West Coast, and I'm just yeah I'm out there on my own,
Yeah.
just playing songs and talking shit.
Yeah. That's how it goes.
Does she want you like I want you? And does she want me like she wants you? Yeah,
Just a reminder for everyone, the new record is called After the Party. It comes out June 21st. You're going to hear a ton of it, I assume, at the Hult Center.
I will be playing a bunch of songs
yeah.
from it for sure.
So that's extremely exciting.
I'm glad I don't need all the production to play the songs. At the end of the day, it's just if you could play the song and the guitar, then you've done your job.
Yep, they translate. I think I could hear how you could take the drums and bass out of a good song, and it's still a good song. It's like I think that's a testament to the songwriting.
Yeah, that's what happens when I do a cover too. Like I do a cover of Chrissie Hynde, The Pretenders, Don't Get Me Wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know the original production, there's a lot going on, a lot of guitars, and when I play it like 3 strings, and I do this really broke down version because the melody and the lyrics are so good. That's all you need.
That's it. What do you love and hate most about touring? Since you are on tour, what are the ups and downs for you?
Finding good food and coffee is always just a struggle, and eating at the right times, because like if I eat too close, you can't be hungry and you can't be full. So like it's just about times. But I don't really hate anything about it. I think there was a point in my life I made a decision, and I heard somebody say this, and it's become a philosophy for me. Like instead of saying I have to do this, you can say I get to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And you just take it all, because at the end of the day, I'm so fortunate that I get to play music for a living and get to play for people. And so, yeah, of course, there's good gigs and bad gigs. Turnout is a big deal. Like when people come out, it's always better.
Sure.
But, I've had some good shows with a few people in the audience too, or like, getting to play a theater are always really wonderful. But I just, I take it all in.
You're humble. It's
I enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
I'm glad I can do what I do.
And so what inspired you, I guess, to walk that path, to be a songwriter and a musician? Was there one thing in particular, or?
I don't think it was one thing in particular. I think it was something that I could do better than other things.
Yeah.
And it just becomes, it just kind of like you whittle it down. You realize, I'm like, well, I guess this is it. This is what I'm going to work on. Because, I don't know. I never really had another dream to do anything else. I think I liked, I was always kind of creative in school, and I liked architecture for a minute. I was doing stuff. I was like, I'm not gonna be an art. I don't know. It wasn't in the cards, but yeah, I just think it was something that I guess I learned early on that I knew I could. I felt musical as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, my dad is a musician. We grew up with music. I had a piano. We play for fun. So he'd sit at the piano and I'd improvise with him, like
Sure.
really young too, like 3, 4, 5 years old. I just loved it. And then, then I got piano lessons and I was, I learned basically from listening to records and just, or, whatever's on the radio or whatever we were playing in the house. And I would kind of like run over to the piano and try to learn the song.
Try to find the notes by ear.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
And was always the worst because when you're trying to like take piano lessons and they're like, stop, like memorize and like learn how to read. And I'm always my ear was better than how, but that's the way it goes.
I'm the worst. I'm a musician by ear only, and I couldn't tell you half the things that I'm playing on a guitar.
Which is probably, I mean, neither could Paul McCartney, so whatever.
I don't want to compare myself to him.
Oh, come on. You and Paul.
Yeah, me and Paul. Was there a record or a musician in your life at that time that you really like clung to, or was like, whoa, this is it?
Well, I think, being, let's see, I mean, I loved pop music, so, but I think when I found the Beatles, it was everything for me. John Lennon, is my hero.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to learn every single Beatles song on the piano.
Oh yeah.
And I just wanted this, and I feel like that's how I learned how to write too, just from like trying to write a song like that. And of course, not like writing Beatles.
That's songs, how I learned how to play. That's how I learned how to play
guitar. But that's it.
Yeah.
Like I had this. There was a great book that my dad had. There was like the complete Beatles Volume 1 and 2, and it had every single song, and it was done really well. I think Bantam published it, and it had the stripes on the binding, and it like that was my Bible.
Yeah.
And they're very playable.
They are.
But then you'd like, I listen to the radio and I love pop music, and like growing up, like Madonna was like, I loved her, and but then after, like I guess in my teens, that's when like Bob Dylan came, I just started listening to his stuff, and Joni Mitchell and folk music and Neil Young, and like more that just kind of overpowered, even though I still love pop music too. I mean, I still.
No, but you go through that discovery phase of like,
the greats, like this, the greatest writers, and I kept wanting just to discover more of that.
Cool.
Carole King, and just
the legends,
all the good ones, the good ones.
What's an album that you can play anytime, cover to cover?
That's a good question. I think Bob Dylan's Blood on the Tracks.
Yeah.
Any day. It's just one of the greatest albums ever.
Yeah.
And Let It Bleed. I listened to not too long ago from the Stones.
Yeah.
And I just every song.
Yeah. There's just they're out there, the perfect records. Do you have a favorite song that you like to like sing unhinged, whether it's in the car or the shower, that you're just like, doesn't matter if you're singing in key, you're just going for it?
Oh, I always had this joke because like, there's a point where like I can sing and I sound good, and then there's like the notes above that just are just wild, and it's Shaka Khan. It's Through the Fire. And it's so high and so out of my range, and I'll just scream it, and just to make people laugh too, because I would be in the car with like my dad. It's so loud and so bad
because you want to hit it. So you got to push it harder to get those notes that are higher,
and they don't come out right. It's just it's garbage, but it's really fun.
No, that's awesome. And So you travel to a different town, every couple days, every day. What is your favorite thing to do when you're in a new town?
I'm pretty boring, to be honest. I
Yeah.
just kind of, I feel like when I'm getting ready for a show, it's pretty, I like the repetition and the routine of just,
Mhm.
getting to the venue and doing sound check. And I just kind of sit still. I might take a walk that if it's close by, and
Mhm.
again, like check out some food and coffee. Maybe there's like a good vintage store or something like fun to just,
Yeah,
poke around. But it's, depending on time,
sure. And it's
really.
always a time crunch. I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, if there's something near water, I always like to look at some water.
Yep. We got that close by.
I like water.
um, are you nervous until that first chord, or are you, do you shake it
Yeah.
off after a whole song, or what's your?
Yeah. So usually the nerves kick in an hour before or like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And again, I have like kind of a routine. I'll try to do my makeup and get dressed and just like be quiet and just figure out my set list and then as it keeps getting closer to whatever it's like, let's say it's 8 o'clock,
Yeah.
the show, around 7:30, I was like, all right. But I've learned to accept my nerves, and they're just part of what it is. I can't make them go away.
Yeah.
They're there for a reason, probably. Uh, because I want to do a good job. And I think that's why I probably get nervous, because I'm just like, oh, is this going to be, like thinking
Sure.
about everything and thinking about what I want to talk about and the order of things. And then I just have to like, about like maybe 10 minutes, 5 minutes before, I'm usually side stage, and I'm just trying to breathe and feel my feelings and, have a moment.
Hmm.
And then just as soon as, I walk out there, I'm like, all right, and depending on the crowd, we'll see how long it takes for me to just like, sometimes I'll know instantly whether this is going to be a good crowd. And if like you walk out and they're just like ready for it, I'm like, all my nerves are gone.
Yeah.
But if it's like a tough crowd, it just takes a minute. I'm like, oh God, here we go. But it's usually fine. But
Yeah.
usually when I get out there, I'm all right.
Yeah. And then a lot of times you can't even see the crowd. Yeah, if it's dark
Yeah.
enough and you got a big bright light in front of you, it's like, it's
Yeah. If the sound is really good, again, my nerves are gone.
yeah.
Because it's like, all right, if I can hear, then no matter what size the venue is,
Well, you can
it's
count
fine.
on the sound being extremely good at the Soaring Theater in the Hult Center.
I love it.
It's a beautiful room with
Yeah.
Myers speakers everywhere, and it's really
Nice.
it's phenomenal.
Oh,
Yeah.
it makes everything better,
Oh yeah.
and it's and some of my most nerve-wracking gigs, like when I opened for the Who at Madison Square Garden,
Oh
I was
jeez.
just doing, I know, right? It's crazy. So it's me and my co-writer, Steve, and it's just the two of us. And I've done about 5 or 6 shows opening for them. And the first time playing Madison Square Garden, I was just like, I mean, talk about emotions and feelings. I was
Yeah.
just like, I
Jeez.
don't even know what I was feeling. I was just like out of my mind. And then I get on stage and the sound was great. And all of a sudden, Madison Square Garden became an intimate venue
Yeah.
because the sound filled it up just right. And people were respectful and quiet. And I'm like, I got this. It's
Yeah.
fine.
That's
You
what a
know?
great experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the nerves before were out of control.
I
And I
bet.
was like, I was like, I don't even know how to feel right now.
Seriously. So, Leslie, thanks again. You're going to be here on Sunday, June 2nd for our 10 for 10 series. It's $10 tickets, so come on down. Where can people find your music, and where do you prefer they find your music?
Well, there's all the streaming places, Apple Music, I think that was, but Spotify. And but really just go to my website and you could pre-order the album now. And I'm actually have the new one. I have a few copies, so I'll have
Oh,
the new album with me.
okay.
So it's going to be like an album release show.
Very cool. That link is in the description below, by the way, but is it lesliemendelson.com?
That's right.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. And again, thanks again so much. Really looking forward to having you here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too.